comes Parslow and Mr. Clinton. Can't wait. Speaking and exposing corruption each and every day. Yeah, 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 yeah. Guyanese, turn on your TV and go to YouTube and listen to what Parslow and Conway to say. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Whole day we are calling for Parslow and Clinton Conway. They teach and educating, exposing the things in the system. We need a better Guyana for the little boys and the children poor. Slow and Clinton Conway.
All the money they get, 2.2 billion.
Hear me when I sing. Yeah.
Give me faith, oh Jah, I pray, oh Lord, to face another day. Oh, Lord, give me strength to face another day. Carry on life's road, carry on my load. Give me strength, oh Jah, to carry on. Oh my Lord, oh Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end. Please tell me when I begin. All help for ages past and all help for years to come, without whom I could not be. Maybe you're trying to lead you out of your life, but I wouldn't be so unwise. And so I promise to serve thee, oh my Lord, and I beg thee some mercy. Lord, give me strength to face another day, journey along life's road, carry my heavy load. Give me strength, oh Jah, to carry on. Oh my Lord.
Give me strength to carry on. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Friday afternoon's edition of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome, welcome, one and all. Thank God it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. Those of you who have the privilege of having not having to work on the weekend, congratulations to you. And those of us, I'm putting myself in that category, who have to work on the weekend, well, we got to suck up and make sure we do what we have to do. We have to do what we have to do. So welcome to this Friday afternoon's episode. As I always say, Friday afternoons are special because you just finished the week. You're looking forward to a relaxing weekend, most of us. You're also making sure some people have chores to perform over the weekend. And yes, so welcome. Today is Friday, the 24th day of August, in the year of our Lord 2026. Another great day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. It is a privilege to be in the land of the living, and we should never ever take that for granted. My late colleague would say, it's a privilege to be in the land of the living to do God's work. He's not here on earth to do that. He's no longer in the land of the living, but I'm sure he's watching over us. I still miss him. Somebody told me, I think it was yesterday, that they miss CC. I miss CC too, and every time I come to put together the program, I miss him. I miss him so much. He used to make such a invaluable contribution to this program. But you know, single wicket about him alone. And some of you are still doing well about him alone. Yeah, the program started. Remember, when I started, I was alone, and then CC joined me. So now I am alone again. So let's see how it's going to develop. But I'm going to redouble my effort to make sure I do the research. I do all the due diligence that I'm supposed to do. And I come and I bring you credible, valuable information. All I ask you to do, as I will do now again, is to subscribe to the channel, to like and share, let people know that we are on Friday afternoon Friday afternoon shout out to all you who are here. Now, you know the order. Again, I have to apologize. There's not going to be any roll call this afternoon. Some technical issues. You get these issues come up from time to time, you know. Technical issues which has caused the students who are here, those many students who came in at 2 o'clock. Sorry, those students who came in at 2 o'clock when the gates were open. You had a little technical glitch again. You get this thing from time to time. So apologies to you. But we're going to go straight into the announcements. And after the announcements, I'm going to go into the substantive matters that I have to deal with. So many matters to deal with. Again, a little juggling took place. So let me tell you, as you know where I will start. Counting up, Sergeant Vaughn, Police Sergeant Vaughn, killed 894 days ago. 894 days, 2 years, 164 days ago. That police sergeant was killed on duty. And there's been the song of silence since then. Song of silence, Sergeant Vaughn, killed in the line of duty. And we have here no update. And then today is 132 days since the son of the Minister of Home Affairs, Onage Waldron, drove that government vehicle into the canal along with St. John Road, damaging same. And again, Song of Silence. There's a top tune for them, you know. Song of Silence, Simon and Garfunkel. Song of Silence. Perhaps there were other versions as well. They have their own version, Song of Silence. 132 days, right, since that happened. And no update. And it is what? It is now 698 days since the other son, Marshall Ali Cock, drove a vehicle along the embankment road, East Coast Embankment Road, the railway embankment they call it, and the LBI access road. Got involved in an accident which resulted in the death of Salima Irlal. Investigation done, file sent to DPP. DPP advised that Marshall Ali Cock, the son of the Minister of Home Affairs, she wasn't Minister of Home Affairs then, should be charged with causing death by dangerous driving. Right? File went for the prosecution to commence on the East Coast. It is alleged that the Commissioner of Police, Clifton Aiken, sent for that file and top tune, Song of Silence. Song of Silence. That accident took place on the 29th of September, 2024. So almost 2 years now and nothing. And they talk about transparency in this animal farm that you have. Animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. Obviously, the sons of the minister and other people are part of this animal farm where they are more equal than others, right? So I'm going to continue to talk about it. I ain't going to get tired, you know. I'm not going to get tired of talking about that, reminding people of it. But let me move on. I did tell you about the arrangements. Patrick Baxter, retired assistant superintendent who died in the UK some time ago. 26th of his funeral will be on the 26th. But there will be a wake on Monday the 24th at Bookland Gardens next to the Critchlow Labour College from 6 p.m. for those people in Guyana, because Patrick will be buried in the United Kingdom. So for those of you in Guyana, the wake is on the 24th at Bookland Gardens, which is just next to, at the corner there. There's a Wolford Avenue and Albert Street, I think it is. So that is where that will be. And then I told you too about the arrangement for Mato, Guyana, former Guyana cricketer, Sidney Matthews. He died on July the 27th. The funeral is on Monday, August the 24th. That is, well, service is in New York, because I learned yesterday that he's going to be buried in Guyana. So the New York service will be on the 24th of August. That is on Monday. And it will be Restoration Temples Assemblies of God Church, 4610 Church Avenue in Brooklyn, right? That zip code is 1123. The viewing from 3 to 4, service from 4 to 7. And then they say there will be a repast at the Caribbean Hall on Utica Avenue. That is up Utica and Flatlands area there. Caribbean Hall, there will be a repast there. And then the body goes to Guyana, and there will be a viewing at Merriman's Funeral Home, Saturday the 29th. That's next Saturday. From viewing at Merriman's Funeral Home from 10 to 11. There's private viewing. The private viewing will be from 10 to 11 for family alone, and then public viewing from 11 to 12. And there will be a church, a service at the Central Assemblies of God, that is East and Church Street. That is so Mato, Sydney Matthews, former Guyana cricketer, right? What I have a few more to tell you about. I did tell you about the death of retired Corporal Spence, 7777. But I learned over the past couple of days that he was buried some time ago in Guyana. So Spence was buried in Guyana. And let me tell you a next thing that I learned this morning. I learned this morning of the death of cycling coach Hassan Mohammed. Hassan Mohammed died this morning, right, at the ripe old age of 80. I think he would have been 81 in a few months' time. So Hassan was a very popular person in Guyana, cyclist himself, and then he took to coaching, attached to the Department of Culture, Youth and Sport, where he was there for a number of years, and they said he was responsible for for finding many of the top cyclists in the country. So Hassan passed this morning. And already a program goes by where I don't have to report on some death or some fatal accident or incident, whatever they want to call it. There is one, I'm going to play a short video on that. But let me go, and then I'm going to come back to that. But let me give you more pleasant news first, and then I'm going to come back to that. Pleasant news is that, the birth anniversary. Today is the birth anniversary of retired Assistant Commissioner Ronald Fraser. I understand that Mr. Fraser's birth anniversary is today. I think he's a Maikoni man. He lives in Maikoni. Long time, was AC admin, and they're at a special branch. Wonderful guy, Ronald Fraser. His birth anniversary, I understand, is today. And I want to send out belated birth anniversary greeting to a cousin of mine, cousin Rita Slow, Mary Rita Slow. She recently observed, I think it was Wednesday, she observed her 96th birthday. 96th birthday, Rita Slow. From DV people, from Sideline Dam, Chicky mother, the late Chicky, Pastor Franklin and all those boys, Lloyd and their mother. She celebrated her 96th birthday recently. Her husband, cousin Ival, is still alive too. He is still alive. He's pushing towards his 100th. And then greetings are going out today to retired Assistant Commissioner Nolan Hendricks. Nolan 10116 Hendricks is going to be observing a birth anniversary shortly. Also observing and let me say something, Nolan was a top drill instructor there in the days when I was kicking, as they say, kicking up a storm at the TSU there. Nolan came from National Service. He joined the force, and he joined the instructing group and was a top drill instructor along with me. And I remember when I was in Berbice, and was Commander Nolan was there in command of West Berbice. And during the troubled times, as they said, police were complaining, all sorts of things they were saying about the firepower of the bandits and all of that. And I recognized that they hadn't the knowledge. That is why they were saying so. Because the police always have very powerful weapons, more powerful than the bandits. But somehow it was, they felt that the bandits had more powerful weapons. And I decided that Nolan and I would hold instruction classes. Nolan will take the West Berbice, and I will take East Berbice, especially in the New Amsterdam area. Yeah, I was assistant commissioner. I can't remember what rank Nolan was then, but we came out and we did the instruction class. We thought, because we were firearm instructors, so we taught them and so on. So Nolan, always a top man. And also, we have a upcoming birthday, Mortimer Mingo. Mortimer Mingo, he was a policeman, if you don't know that. Then he was there at the Guyman Constabulary for a number of years. He was chairman of the local government commission, and Morty is going to be celebrating a birth anniversary shortly. I remember back in the day when Guy Mine was Guy Mine, Guy Mine's constabulary. It was Morty, Mentor, Yakub, and those stalwarts were there. I remember that very well. And also aboard there coming up, woman deputy superintendent, I think she is, Fiona Harris. Though she used to be at immigration, I don't know if she's still there, but she's going to be observing a birth anniversary shortly too. And I have to send out special wedding anniversary greetings, 54th wedding anniversary greetings to retired senior to Arlington Samuels and his wife Eslyn. On Sunday, they're going to be observing 51 years of blissful marriage. Sammy, you 51 years, I just born then, man. I was just born. 51 years wedding anniversary. Fantastic achievement. I want to congratulate all those who are celebrating birth anniversaries today, who celebrated recently, and who are going to be celebrating in the near future. Congratulations, especially, again, congratulations to Sammy. You know, let me say something about Sammy, because when I joined the force in 1974, I think Kami, around the same time, Sammy got corporal. He was one of the drill instructors. Let me say this. When I became a drill instructor shortly after, you were all there as drill instructors. Sammy is unique in that he perhaps is the only drill instructor I never hear use a bad word. And I'm being really honestly. I never hear Sammy cuss. Never. And those of you who passed through the drill square, especially those of you who passed through my hands, know, oh God, tap in, slow, Albert, every other word was a fancy word, man. Every other word was as usual, was a Kulibai. That is a culture of drill instructors and so on. But Sammy, the most I ever hear Sammy say on the drill square, you should tell them but they pay you twice as. That was Sammy thing. Carry your PU twice as, right? That was Sammy. Fantastic gentleman. So Sammy, again, all the best to you. I want to on the last program, I spoke about my experience with the NIS getting the life certificate done, and people reached out and said, well, they have had similar experience. Of course, you have one or two people who would relate bad experience, not with the life certificate. And I said then, I was wondering when and if the Ministry of Finance can implement something similar so that you don't have to go there to have your life certificate done. And I was advised on the program, people said, number 7, they have an arrangement which started during COVID, where there's a number that you can call. Somebody even sent, said there's also email address, but the thing is not publicized. So I don't know if the Ministry of Finance has a similar arrangement. If they do, then maybe whoever is responsible for public relations and so on can come out and let us pensioners know. Because I learned about the NIS on social media. I was browsing social media a couple months back and I saw it. So maybe if the Ministry of Finance has a similar arrangement, let people know, send out and let people know, put it on social media, put it out there, let people know that you have a similar arrangement. You don't have to go in person on what you have to do. Because what I was told that you can get the form signed. Well, I get the form signed and notarized and then send it to this email address and all of that. But even if that is the case, then you need to go a little further, like NIS, not to have things notarized, because to get stuff notarized might require travel, might require payment to get it notarized by a notary public, right? So maybe they might want to consider that. But I saw this morning somebody complaining. I'm going to deal with that a little later. Somebody complaining about NIS. I'm going to skip through. For now, I'm going to move on, and I'm going to come back to that complaint so we can understand, because I think I explained part of this on Friday. Maybe I should do it again. I want to shout out to the boys in St. Vincent, man, Tyson and the gang. Not only boys, I understand, women are there with them too. The crew from St. Vincent who would gather on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays to listen to Speaking Out. Shout out to you. I hope you are having a wonderful time, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I want to also shout out to Pastor Schultz and Brother Winston Scarrett. You know, those were used to shout, CCs to shout them out fairly frequently. So I will continue that. And I want to also mention that a few weeks ago, I think it was, I spoke about the problems with police pensioners, people complaining that on pension day, they will go to the various post offices to collect their pension, only to be told that the money wasn't there yet. They must come back either later the day or come back the next day. And I called out the police finance because they said the police finance was responsible for making sure that the monies were sent to the various post offices and so on. Now, as I've said on this program, we give kudos where kudos are due, and we call out when we have to call out. I was told that today is Pensioners Day, and there was no hiccup today. The people went and they got the pension. I guess somebody said maybe they listened and they put whatever systems they have to put in place, they put it in place. So that is the way it should be. You don't need to, pensioners shouldn't be going there on the nominated pension day, because these things, the days are published at the start of the year, perhaps I think at the end of the year, with the days so public service pay and the days when pensioners are going to be paid. So just make sure you put your house in order and let the pensioners get the payment. Those who have to go and collect the money, let them get it. So they said this month there was no problem. Let's hope that continues, right? Now, I want to let you know too, in case you don't know, I saw it, that Tuesday coming, the 25th, is a public holiday in Guyana in respect of Yuma Nabi. That is a Muslim holiday. And in case you don't know what it signifies, I did my little research, and they say that is the birth anniversary of Prophet Muhammad. So Yuma Nabi is equivalent to what we say Christmas. Christmas we say is the birth of the Christ child. Well, Yuma Nabi is the birth anniversary of the Prophet Muhammad. It's a public holiday in Guyana. So yeah, I got a short week next week. And what else I got to tell you? The cricket fans, cricket in the air, CPL, nice match last night. And the matches are getting better now. And of course, we had Test cricket, India versus Sri Lanka, India versus England blew them away. And then England and Pakistan, there's a 2.5 day test match you had there. 2.5. And rain fell on the first day. So they catch up with time. Pakistan made 171. England replied with 409. And then blew them out this morning. England batted this morning. At the end of play on the second day, England were 8 wickets down for 388, I think it was. They were bowled out for 409. I looked at the score, and then at one stage it was 2 wickets were down. Archer picked up 2 early wickets. But I decided to go back and look. Game done. They bowled out for 135. Pakistan were all bowled out for 135. Right? So you had that. England won by an innings and 103. That's what we call, back in the call them 2-1. They got 2-1. That was the most ignominious way to lose when I was a little boy growing up. You 2-1 them, right? 2-1. So Pakistan get 2-1 against England this morning. And tonight in Australia, Australia and Bangladesh will square off for the second test match, because the first test match, they say Bangladesh created what many consider as the biggest upset in Test cricket. The biggest upset. They beat Australia in Australia with a day to spare, right? And let me remind you all, that the coach of Bangladesh is none other than our own Phil Simmons. Phil Simmons. And I said before on this program, and let me, full disclosure, Phil Simmons is my friend. And I said he's one of the most outstanding coaches they've had in recent times. Phil Simmons took that Ireland team from nothing and brought them to prominence, right? He was there, West Indies, when West Indies won one of the T20 World Cup, it was Simo, right? Simo there now with Pakistan. Simo is a great coach and a great person. So congratulations to them. Let's see what will happen, because I understand Simo said in an interview they did not go there to just win a test match. They went there to win the series. So let me see. I know Australia come with blood in the eyes now, They're coming with blood in their eyes. So let's see where that will go. Now, right, so let me come to, I told you about this issue with the NIS. One man complaining, And let me play. It's about 5 minutes long. Listen to his complaint. Listen. Before I go there, let me say this. On the last program, when I spoke about NIS, a student related on the chat difficulties she's having in getting her husband's benefits. Her husband is deceased, to get benefits and so on. And another student reached out and said, well, look, make contact with me. I'm able to advise you and so on. That is the beauty of this, you know. People come on the live. That's why I like the live. People come on the live, they see comments, and some people might be in a position to assist. And let me say to that student who reached out, and I understand that your skepticism, because it's internet, you don't know maybe who the person is. I know that person who promised or who was saying that they can assist. I know that person, and I know that that person is an honorable gentleman, right? I ain't gonna tell you something to your face. If I meet you, I'm gonna tell you that he's a gentleman. I might say, yes, you're honorable, but not a gentleman, because I know things about him. And further I say not. Further I say not. So yes, the student, I don't know how you're gonna get a number or so on, but I'm sure that person will be in a position to assist you. So here what the complaint is. There's a gentleman who complained. He had an interview with Big Smith, Leroy Smith Newswatch. I saw it, and I thought I should play it so we can understand what is going on and make a few comments at the end. Listen to it carefully.
There's a lot of people who become 60. It's time for them to do better, and I should do better. The people who work so hard, it's time for them to give the people what they need. Stop. It's so much investigation. 3 years for me. What about people before me? Some people ain't even get them on yet. You understand? I would ask them, somebody do something, because we're gonna be 65. A man just recently turned 65. They give you a package, not far from here. Nobody want a package, and he work more years than me. He work 28 or 29 years, they give package. This roots robbing thing gotta stop. My name is Colin Andrew Mortimer Smith. I was born in Linden. I come to Golden Grove in 1969 and started working at Enmore Estate. Before I worked at Enmore Estate, I used to be a policeman at the age of 19 and move on from there. I joined Gaisuku in 1987 on the 1st of February on my birthday. I became a permanent worker there. I worked there until 2002, and then I migrated to the United States of America. We finished working my time overseas and come back to Ghana and go to NIS. I graduated from NIS. By the time I go in there, I've been pushing. I visited NIS about 22 times already. First I visited Melanie before my 60th birthday. I filed my claim, everything. It gave me thing. Which one was a Saturday going to file? All my friends who filed at the same time, all of them getting the NIS. All the same, they're investigating. Every time I go investigating, I get a fast rate, you know. I don't even want A but them. Because I just investigating. I went to the person who's second in charge. A man by the car brother. He had a long beard, a senator, a lady, more investigation. I tell the investigation, I ain't able to do it anymore. So for this year I went already. I went on my body. I went back after my body. I went 3 times for this year. They got everything already. They give them everything. One time when I went there, they said a lady in a room downstairs said I'm gonna get a package. I don't want package. I work the estate, forget everything. If you check my timings, I work from that year, 1987, the 4th of February, when I became permanent, to 2002, when I 27th of March, I leave the job and went overseas. I'm qualified. It had nothing more. But they didn't collect this and they didn't collect that. I know I work and know everything was true, because I retired as a charge and in charge of the sugar barn at Enmore. Everything was there, was a junior staff. Oh, I'm tired of it. That's why Even a couple of days ago, my wife asked me, why I'm going out to go last week Tuesday? I said, I'm going now, right now. I'm tired. The package is a give a lump sum of money just because they want to give you your full benefit. I don't want benefit halfway thing. I don't work halfway with the company. I want everything will belong to me. They're saying I'm not qualified. I only get 5 something. You check the year's service. Tell you that everything got to be there. Somebody's hiding something. I know exactly the amount of years I work, so you can't hide. So I need to correct the record. I don't want no package. No package. Give me my money. I deserve it. After all these years, and I'm going to say this to UNS inspectors, you are taking, some of you taking people thing and change it around. Stop it. It's time, because I know people who happened to them. And I want the NIS inspectors, them who doing cheat. At one time I went to NIS, we call it the one in Camp Street. It might sound funny to you. A guy downstairs, I don't know his name. He said he can get it fixed within an hour. It's going to cost me 30 grand. I'm telling you straight up. I don't know if he's still working there. But somebody needs to sit down, somebody big, and listen to my story. I work for my own, giving me my own. But that individual, I can point you out. I still remember you. Still remember you working at there. Yeah. And thanks for you take a good interview from me, because I know it. I know exactly.
You are the thing, the allegations and all that made and so on. But those of you who are on this program, I think it was Friday, I've been warning people, make sure that you go and check to make sure that your contributions are up to date. You see, it's good to blame NIS, and I am not representing NIS, but having gone through the system, I think I have some knowledge, because in many cases, your employer collect the money from you, but they don't remit it to the NIS. Sometimes the records, sometimes the fault is not with NIS, and that is why I've said, especially to police ranks, right? Go to the office in Camp Street and check to make sure that your contributions are in order, because you could work 20 years, 25 years. If the money wasn't paid over to NIS and they don't have a record there, you are going to find yourself in problem. So if it is that you check early and you realize that your contributions are not up to date, then the people have enough time for them to do a proper investigation to put your records in order. Let's understand this clearly. Not only the pay stubs, even the pay stubs alone they can do, because the pay stubs will show that the money was taken out by your employer, the person who employs you. The question is whether that money was then remitted to NIS for them to have a record there. I like to share this experience because when I retired, just after I retired, I have a very good friend who encouraged me to go to NIS and check on my contributions. And I tell you, I said, well, man, I get 5 more years because you retire at 55 and you're not eligible for pension until you're at 60. So I said, man, I got 5 more years. The man said, look, go and check. Don't worry, wait, check and make sure that your records are up to date. Thankfully, I took the advice. When I went there in Camp Street, they had a gap about 9 years or something like that. No record showed that there was no contribution there for me. But 9 years, even though I worked unbroken from 1973 until I retired in 2010, right? They had problems with the records. And luckily for me, the investigation started and it took a long time. So by the time I reached the age to get pension, everything was straightened out. So that is why I say to people, don't wait, go and check to make sure that your records are in order. And if your records are not up to date, you get enough time to put it in order so that by the time you reach your pensionable, NIS pensionable age, the records are in order. But this man is blaming NIS. I'm not sure that NIS, he worked, according to him, 2 places. He worked in the Guyana Police Force and he worked at Gaisuku. So it's to check to see if those companies, if those agencies really did remit the money. right? And as I said, you check with the NIS office, and if the contributions are not up to date, there is a process there where they will conduct an investigation. They have inspectors will conduct. They take your information, your social, your NIS number and so on, and they do an investigation. This lump sum that you talk about, that is something that the government came up with some time ago, that if you did not have the requisite contributions to make you eligible for a monthly pension, depending on how many contributions they had, I think there were about 2 packages, you get the package as a one-off. You get it as a one-off. So again, I thought I'd play that, and I'll again implore all of you, policemen, once you get little service and thing there, you're working elsewhere in the government anyway. Not only government, if you are working in these security companies, because I understand that these security companies, some of them are notorious for that. They take out your money. So when you look at your pay slip, you see this for NIS. But they don't remit it to NIS, so there's no record at NIS that you're paying, you're making your contributions. I think the minimum contribution is 750. Somebody's advising you 750. Are you take stupid advice? Lest you find yourself in the position with that gentleman who complained there. Check, go and check and make sure you're checking with the NIS, not where you work. Because their record might show that, yes, they made deductions, but the question is whether those deductions were sent to NIS and whether the records there are up to date. Are you take me stupid advice? Yeah? Right? Take me advice. Take me advice. So I thought I'll mention that as a public service. We like to share information to educate people. Right? Right? Yeah. Well, they say that check alone, but no, once you check, my thing, you get a printout. But once you check and they tell you, say, well, yes, it is in order. Yeah, it's good to get some documentation. You get a printout from NIS to show that all your contributions are up to date, and you keep that as your record. I've been singing this to a lot of people. I tell policemen in particular, because they say that years ago, they had a problem with the police and they're saying they're taking out your money, yes, and they're sending it to NIS. That is what I learned. They were sending it to NIS, but then the breakdown, in many cases, wasn't as detailed as it should be. They sent it lump sum, 3 million NIS. But then the supporting document to say, well, slow is so much, this body is so much, that body is so much. They had a failure in that respect, and it caused a lot of problem. And that is what caused investigations to take a long, long time. I'm not speaking about this particular case because the man is saying all sorts of things, but I'm telling you about my experience. I'm sharing it so that you can put yourselves in order. Because as I've said, the fault may not lie with NIS. The fault may very well lie with your employer. Again, I say, there are many allegations out there that some of these private security companies are notorious for that. They take out your money, look at your pay slip, you see they take out money. But they don't remit it to the NIS. Not only security companies, many of these fly-by-night people with contracted, they come. You got to understand, all them getting contract from the government and all this other thing, taking out your money for NIS and then paying. And I have said, I remember advising people, if you're self-employed, make your contribution to the NIS so that when time comes, you get to the age of 60, which is the pensionable age, you're going to get little money. It's something a lot of people I know work for years. Oh, they're paying NIS. They're working by themselves. They reach 60 and they're going. They have nothing to get. No safety net. No, it might be small. Yes, it might be small, but at least you know when the month come, you get something for buy 2 sweetie. So take Mr. Bed advice. Right? Now, I let me go back to the sad story. You know, I tell you, there was a porter killed after a truck turnover at Maburo sometime yesterday, a truck turnover. Well, they're going to call the incident a truck driving a truck turnover, kill a porter, another fatality on the road. What they call them, incident or accident, another fatality. And then we had a murder at Linden. Let me play it. Listen to what the news item is saying.
A jealous rage, a taunting WhatsApp post, and a single gunshot on a street ironically named Hot and Spicy. That's the deadly chain of events that left a young Linden minor dead and his alleged friend behind bars. Police in Regional Division 10 are investigating the fatal shooting of Kieran MacDonald, a 26-year-old minor of Dock 22 Wismar Linden, and a Bosai employee, which occurred around 10 a.m. at Prashville, Wismar on August 19th. According to police, MacDonald was engaged in conversation with a man from Half Mile Wismar when an altercation broke out between them. During the confrontation, the suspect allegedly retrieved a firearm from a vehicle and fired a single round, striking MacDonald in the left side of his chest. He was rushed to the Linden Hospital complex, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The suspect was later intercepted by police and taken into custody at the Wismar police station, where he remains assisting with the investigation. No firearm has yet been recovered, though a 9mm spent shell casing was found at the scene. Relatives of MacDonald believe the shooting stemmed from a simmering feud between the two men, who were reportedly close associates. Family members said MacDonald had been going through a difficult period with the mother of his children and had accused the suspect of being romantically involved with her. Tensions reportedly boiled over on Wednesday morning after MacDonald allegedly taunted the suspect about his son in a WhatsApp status. According to relatives, the suspect went to confront MacDonald over the post. The two men argued at the home of one of MacDonald's relatives before the suspect drove off to Hot and Spicy Street, Wismar, where MacDonald later showed up, and the dispute escalated into a scuffle that ended with the fatal shot. The suspect allegedly fled but was arrested after reportedly returning to the scene. Police says investigations into the circumstances surrounding MacDonald's death are ongoing.
We have one man there, the woman's story, man, woman's story. The one who is deceased, partly has a child mother, and his friend. You know, the children say, is your friend, is your friend, is your friend, your friend. So tantalize and so on, one kill the next one. One kill the next one. Just like that. A man lost his life. Young man, lost his life. They're calling over this woman. So the woman now is there. Sure, she gonna get somebody else. The two children are left fatherless, and that is what you have. That's what he said is the lasso. The lasso can't assert man the power of the P or the power of the C, whatever you want to call it, is a power. That is what they have. People resort to violence so easily these days, man. And the guns are so readily available. They said they find a 9mm shell, which means suspect is a 9mm used to kill this man. The power of the P, that is what happening. Tantalize. Remember, not so long ago in the quarantine, two men arguing. This is what was reported, you know. Two men arguing as to to be crude and blunt, who lash more Spanish. In other words, who had more sex with Spanish women and ended up in the death of one. That is what going on. Men arguing. Sit down, they're drinking the liquor, arguing who lash more Spanish. End up shooting one. A serious thing, man. Serious thing. The power of the P, don't underestimate it. No, let me move on. I saw something. You know, we said Ghana is not a real place. And I don't know what we could do or what they can do to save this police force. Right? The Ghana police force on the Clifton 8.5 million Ikin. I saw something yesterday, Kaito News. Let me read what it says. I'm going to go into it later. Trio on $100,000 bail each for damages to, they said damages to GPL network, right? I learned that damages, when you talk about damages, you talk about money from the court. Damages, if you sue, you get damages. Anything else is damage in the singular, right? But they said trio for damages. That is what they say, Kaito News. Then they go on to say, 3 persons were choosily placed on $100,000 station bail each for damaging components of the Guyana Power and Light GPL network at La Penitence, Georgetown. In a statement posted on its Facebook page, GPL said the power interruption customers experienced in the area was the result of a truck damaging a section of the network. Quote, according to reports, the vehicle bearing registration number GYY 5259 was traveling north along the La Penitence Public Road when, upon turning west, it became entangled with overhead telephone cables, resulting in damage to GPL's network and an interruption of electricity service in the area, end of quote, GPL said. The company immediately dispatched response team to the scene, and necessary remedial works were carried out. Its efforts resulted in the restoration of service approximately 1 hour after it was interrupted. Two porters, listen to this carefully, listen to this what I say. Two porters, along with the driver of the vehicle, were taken into police custody and placed on $100,000 station bail each. A report was lodged at the Rhymeville police station and investigations are continuing. Quote, GPL is alarmed by the high frequency at which incidents involving vehicles and its network infrastructure are occurring, and is urging vehicle operators to exercise extreme caution when operating near utility infrastructure, end of quote, the company said. GPL is urging drivers and machinery operators to properly assess their surroundings and ensure adequate clearance of overhead cables before maneuvering. The company reminded the public that damage to its network can interrupt service, require costly repairs, and more importantly, pose serious safety risks. Such incidents can result in severe injuries or death to utility workers, motorists, and members of the public. Why can't the police put these people on? Look, let me tell you something. The guy in the police force gone for China. Now, what offense would these people have committed? What offense? A man driving a truck, right? He maneuvering. That's what they say, maneuvering. The truck somehow came into contact with utility wires. Disconnect these wires, causing disruption to the electricity. They arrest these men and put them on $100,000 station bail each, the driver and the two porters. The driver and the two porters. What offense would they have committed? What offense? I share, I hope the police here and listen. I hope you can listen, because this young know. What are you claiming? You're claiming that they damaged the thing? The law, as it relates to damage, speaks about unlawful and malicious. Malicious. You have to prove that it was malicious. Let me read some things here because I did some research. I asked the question, what offense did these people commit for you to put them? First of all, you arrest them. You arrest them. And then you put in the driver and the two porter on $100,000 station bail each. Let me assume, for argument's sake, that you said the driver might have been a little careless or reckless, and he then caused the vehicle to damage the pole, the vehicle. What culpability would the porters have? What culpability would the porters have in this thing that you would arrest them and put them on bail? These people are on real, so you got people who got to find $100,000 bail, the porters and the driver, $100,000 bail. And let me tell you all about the relevant section. Let you all go and check the Summary Jurisdiction Offences Act, Chapter 8:02, from Section 47 to 65, deals with damaging injury to stuff, start injury. It talks about malicious injury to property. That's, I think that is what the heading. Malicious, operative word, malicious injury to property, not accidental. So even if property is injured, right, you have to prove that it was malicious. And based on your own recount, all they said, not malicious. It speaks about unlawful and malicious. The sections dealing with damage speaks about unlawful and malicious. Those two words are there. Talk about unlawful and malicious damage to growing things, animals not being cattle, poisoning of or destroying of fish, literary and scientific artistic work, the part of electronic and magnetic telegraph, damage to fence, among other things. The most important aspect there, it has to be unlawful and malicious. Unlawful and malicious. So you don't charge a damage to property, you charge a malicious damage to property. That is what the last thing. You charge a malicious, you have to show that the damage was maliciously done. So if a person by accident, let me say walking down the road and something happened, your hand jammed something and something fall down and damage and so on, if they want, they could bring civil lawsuit against you. But certainly no crime has been committed. Or you're arresting these people and you're putting them on $100,000 bail. I wonder who is that officer in charge of that subdivision? Who is the sergeant in charge of the station? Because you can say, they don't tell you that, right? They'll say they don't report it upwards. But that is the problem you have. Because with the number of people, supervisors, that the president wake up and promote running up to the election last year, all of these stations, every station outpost should get someone with supervisory rank, someone with stripe on the hand or pip on, or star on the shoulder should have them. But then you may very well have them there, and then they may know better. They don't know better because it's that nightmare promotion they benefited from. So that is the thing. But let me tell you all again. Let me tell you, based on what is reported there, people have not committed any offense. A man torn in the truck entangled with wire, resulting in power outage and so on, and you arrest them and you get them at the station, including the porters, and then they are put on $100,000 station bail each. My Lord, my Lord, my Lord, where is the force going, or where has it gone? Because these things are basic, basic, malicious. They get any. Let me stretch it a little further. You arrest them for damage to property, because that's the only thing you can arrest them for, damage to property. Did you get a statement from the owner of the property? Did you get a statement from them? If GPL is claiming that it's their thing damage, you get a statement from somebody at GPL to say, talk about the damage? Nothing. Nothing. That's the type of policing you have now. That is the type of policing, George Potato policing. George Potato policing. In case you all know, George Potato is the caricature of a stupid policeman. Back in the day, George Potato police, they said George Potato arrest a man. And when he arrested him, he tell the man drop his hat or something. And the man said, let me go for my hat. And he said, I'd go and get it. And the man ran away. George Potato saw the man a couple days after getting arrested. Man come with the same thing and said, me I drop. And he said, nah, not this time. You ain't going for no hat and run away. You stay. I going for the hat. Right? George Potato. That's what you get now. So, of course, when he got to the hat, left the man unattended, the man ran away too. Right? So, that is what you have. It is sad, but that is the reality. You got to highlight these things. I don't give a shit if they're vexed or not. I have got to highlight these things. Because, as I've said, these are routine things. Routine things. Right? All right, let me move on. Well, I guess so much. Let me start with this one, man. The president had a press conference, well, something they called press conference on Tuesday, I think it was. And the president said some things there. I want to know if anybody does listen to this president, or if the president has go back and listen to himself. And what am I saying? The president is claiming, hola, me got to read this thing here, hola, me got the thing here. As reported in one of the Kaicho News. The president is claiming that the citizens, the lifestyle of citizens is to be blamed for the rising cost of living. Guyana president is claiming that the lifestyle of citizens, right, is resulting, is the cost of living, the rising cost of living. Well, at least he admit cost of living going up, but he's blaming it on the lifestyle of citizens, right? And here what the thing say: change your eating habits. That is Kaicho News of this morning. President telling people, change your eating habits. President Ali blames citizens' lifestyle for rising cost of living. The man can be overbearing. He's saying, here we continue, I think he said, dining out, shopping in supermarkets, and driving expensive. That's what driving up expenses. Dining out and shopping in supermarket, he says, driving up expenses. I can't read the whole thing, but let me read part of it for you to understand something more what the president said. President points to supermarket shopping, eating out, and changing consumer habits as Guyanese struggle with soaring prices. Guyanese are increasingly struggling to afford food, rent, and other basic necessities in the oil-rich Guyana. But President Irfan Ali says changing lifestyles and consumer habits are contributing to the country's high cost of living. Notably, the president said he can cite hundreds of measures that have already been implemented by his administration to address the issue, which persists beyond the control of government. He said, for instance, the global environment and imported inflation affect the country and consumers. Offering one example, the president explained that while the country produces crude oil, it imports all refined products such as gasoline, diesel, and cooking gas, meaning these items are more expensive due to imported market costs. Additionally, he highlighted that tensions in the Middle East have resulted in increased costs of pharmaceuticals as well as fertilizers, which have an effect on food prices. To this end, he suggested, let me continue to read. I listen. To this end, he suggested, quote, we have to also change our eating pattern in the country, and that is something we have to address. More persons today are shopping in the supermarket than were shopping in the supermarket 4 years ago, end of quote. He continued, if you look at the margins in supermarket, you will see that the margins are far different than the margins in the normal market. So that's a cultural issue that has come upon us that needs to be addressed, end of quote. Ali cautioned that the profit margins in supermarket are significantly higher due to rent and air conditioning in some cases. It is genius. Additionally, he observed, quote, people are eating out more than they were eating out 4 years ago. The average family is visiting a restaurant more than they were doing 4 years ago. That is also an issue. More people are cooking less at home than they were cooking 4 years ago. Finally, Ali stressed that retailers in Guyana have been charging exorbitant costs on items purchased from farmers. To this end, he said government may assess the establishment of permanent farmers market across the country to offer reduced prices to consumers or to customers directly from farmers. I'm making a picture farm here, you know. Importantly, the president made it clear that cash grant will not solve the issue of cost of living, but rather a holistic approach. I wonder when he can take that holistic approach. He said, we have to address the issue of cost of living from different perspectives. No amount of grant would address it. Grants are there to support different levels of vulnerability and to support injections to family income. We have to address it in a structured way. To this end, he pointed out that the government of Guyana has implemented a series of measures to assist farmers, including removal of taxes, rollover of subsidies, and others. He went on to say that despite this exhaustive list of measures taken by the government, the situation is where it currently is. The president therefore suggested, quote, so we have to address this in a multidimensional frame cultural issue, changing eating patterns, changing buying patterns, the margins that are there, when he said the margins that are there, that is the only way. It is also to be holistic, and of course we have to be cognizant of what is happening globally and what is pushing prices globally. Let me stop there because it's a little tough. It's a little tough read, and I know it's not easy. Can you imagine that the president is saying that one of the problem with the cost of living, out of control cost of living, has to do with blame citizens the lifestyle? He's saying you're dining out, shopping in supermarket, that is what driving up expenses. My Lord, I made some notes. Let me refer to my notes, right? And I say here that the president is clearly from that statement and others that he made recently, the president is clearly out of touch with reality. Clearly out of touch. Remember, about a week or so ago, addressing the NICE issue, complaints he said about NICE nuisance, and his suggestion to deal with NICE nuisance is to get the bars and clubs take loan from the bank to soundproof their establishments. That was his idea of dealing with NICE. And I said then, I said again, that bars and nightclubs are they are not the only source of NICE, and I would want to argue that they are not even a major source of NICE. I said it before. Then, more recently, the president said that he went to the Pomeroon, and the people there are complaining about getting workers to pick their coconuts. And his suggestion to deal with that is what he called coconut picking tourism. This no joke, this is what the president said. Let me see if I can find this tape. Because I must believe, I want to believe some line from the president. Listen to it.
One of the things that the Pomeroon farmers complain to me about is that they can't get workers to pick the coconut now. Well, I have a solution. Let us make the coconut farms part of the tourism product and invite people to come and pick coconut on the farms, just like people go to pick apples and pick strawberries. And then whatever they pick, they buy. So this can become a beautiful product. Imagine you're taking them down the Pomeroon.
Coconut picking tourism. I tell you, this president out of touch with reality, He's clearly out of touch with reality. And following the last program when this thing was mentioned, what are your students in the ordinary, Here are students here. First of all, let me understand. There are some relatively short coconut trees that you really got to climb up and go all the time. Because coconut tree climbing is a skill that I have never perfected. I ain't climbing no coconut tree. Let me understand it. The short ones, yes. But once you go too high, I ain't climbing no coconut tree. Right? And somebody said, listen to what somebody said. Somebody said, when you bring these tourists to climb for pick coconut, and they go up the tree, and they put up with the yawery. Only country people will know what we're talking about here. Somebody said, you climb, they come for pick coconut as for tourism, according to the president, and they climb in the tree. And when they put up there, they put up with the yawery. What gonna happen? Let me explain that to y'all. Yawery, I think is a possum is the correct name. They build their nest in the trash in the top of the coconut tree. And if they get young ones, they can be very vicious. So when you climb up and you're about to enter into the top there, and it's just come on you and so then you jump off. People jump off the tree, injure yourself, right? So that's what the person was saying. You bring a tourist, they climb in the coconut tree, and the yawery brace them at the top there, what gonna happen? But the thing sounds so stupid. That my view. Some people might believe, some of the supporters, some of the sycophants might say, oh, brilliant idea. Brilliant. But to me, it's some stupid as a countryman. Tourists come, and every we're talking about this is like picking coconut in the Pomeroon. In the Pomeroon, how you get in there? You're going when you salvage and be Borima, you're gonna use them to carry up in the Pomeroon. How they get into the Pomeroon? Tourists come. And even if they are local tourists, because tourists doesn't necessarily mean they gotta come from abroad. Local tourists, how they're traveling to go to the Pomeroon to pick coconut, however they pick, they must buy it. So when they pick, let me say they pick 10 coconut and they buy it, how they bringing this 10 coconut to whoever? This thing sounds so nonsensical. I want the president been on something. Was he on some things? Was he on some stuff? Some pharmaceutical stuff to be making the statement. What I want statement is many, but let me continue, right? Let me continue, right? He said he taught at restaurant and the shopping malls and so on. Yeah? And I made a note here that the president is oblivious. The president seems oblivious to the plight of 58% of people who are said to be living in poverty in Guyana, and another 30-something% living in abject poverty. And I would suggest, Mr. President, that the people them who eating out and the people them who buying in supermarket, and they're in that group, not the people who live in poverty and abject poverty. They ain't going to no supermarket They men going to those restaurants, they can't even afford to eat out. Some of them can't even afford to eat at home. Must just eating out. They can't afford it. That is the reality. And even if you talk about them cooking home and all them type of thing, even if some of them want to cook at home, that they water not run, no water and running for them to cook. When the water come, the water discolored, fancy color water. What are they gonna cook with? What are they gonna cook with? And even if you go out there, you buy a Chinese, you know, we say you buy a Chinese, you lash off, and you left half there for Bombay. Y'all know it's Bombay. Country people gonna left half for Bombay. You come now, you ready. Blackout, you can't warm up. If you get microwave, can't warm up microwave. Maybe you gotta go back to old time thing. Put it in some container. Put on some water to it and put the container in the water for one. It's the reality, sir. I said the president is oblivious to the plight of the ordinary man. Plight of the ordinary man. These people who eating out, Mr. President, and these people who shopping in supermarket at a markup price, they are doing that because many of them are FFFs. They are friends, family, and favorite and can afford to do that. But the average man, the average poverty-stricken person can't do that. They can't even eat in, must just eat out. They can't eat in, must just eat out. And let me say this when you talk about supermarket, because the president talking about supermarket and all this other thing, right? And I know that one of the bigger and more popular supermarkets is Amazonia Mall on the East Bank by the stadium, the Amazonia Mall. They get, talking again, another thing, they get a whole set of thing there, man. A whole set of thing in Amazonia Mall. A lot of, you get a lot of fast food places there. A lot of fast food places, KFC, Starbucks, Pizza Hut, Burger King, and supermarket. I see all them there, the place there. A big establishment with all sort of thing. I hear rumors. Is who own them? I hear rumors. Them by say, is who own it? Who own it? And when the president can come and talk about farmers market, you're going to establish farmer market, that might be a conflict, Mr. President, because we know by now you have a mega farm. So is it that you're plugging for your farm? So you're going to get farmers market and you're going to bring things from your eggs and chicken and beef. And are you plugging for your farm, Mr. President? Are you using the office of the president and the so-called press conference to plug for your farm? Is that what it is? Is that what it is? I'm talking about the water. Talking about the water. Poor people there, you can't get water, you're complaining. Sunday water come 2 to 3 hours in the morning. The whole day no water, little in the night. Sometimes I saw recently the water gas had a color. And then the guy in the water ink said, well, they do some desilting or some cleanup and so on. You cannot get a reliable supply of water in Guyana, including the city. You cannot get a reliable supply of water. And I read recently where Guywa, the Guyana Water Incorporated now, they can't supply water through the mains on a reliable basis, potable water. They can't do that, but they're going into the bottled water business, we understand now. They are investing to produce bottled water. They can't give you water, even though they're getting billions of dollars every year from our pocket. They cannot give you proper water, can't give you proper water. But they are going into the water business now. They can sell bottled water. You think this place easy? You think this place where you call Guyana is an easy place? You get Guyana Water Incorporated, responsible for supplying potable water, right? To all residents. Can't do that. You're failing. If you live at the second floor place, the water can't come up. Every time, when you build a place now, let me understand this. When you build a house, no matter how low it is, you have got to invest in a black tank. That is part of it. You have to have a black tank. And in some cases, the pressure from the water can't fill the black tank. Some people got to invest in a little pump to pump from the main, even though that is illegal, to pump from the main into the tank. Or you depend on rain to fall to fill your tank. That is the reality. But guys, Guyana Water Inc. is now going into the bottled water business. They're going into bottled water business. Imagine that. Imagine that. And I say again, Mr. President, erratic supply of electricity. So even if you get a little food, they put on for Bombay. So you can do a little Bravo Fox shot. Only police will know that, you know. Police, you know, y'all know it's Bravo Fox shot, the police vernacular. When the police say you're going to walk a Bravo Fox shot, a BF, a Bravo, that is a phonetic alphabet. Bravo Fox shot. Do you know what that is? Let me hear you if you know what a Bravo Fox shot is in the police vernacular. I'm waiting. I want to see if I catch you all this time. When the police say that, hey, I got to go and walk a Bravo Fox shot, right? I got to go and walk a Bravo Fox shot, a BF, right? You know what I mean? When is a Bravo? And yes, Ricky. Yes, broad forward. You got to walk a broad forward. Bombay. Yeah. Go shoot and come to the front of the class. So when you hear Bravo Fox shot, it's something you left back, and you got to bring it forward. As I said, if you got a microwave or you get electricity, you're struggling. You're struggling to bring it forward, right? You're struggling. So that is the reality that we're talking about. That is the reality. You know, Amazonia Mall have about 35 concessions, you know. 35, including international fast food chain and all this type of thing, man. And I say, wonder who own it. Because I hearing the boy, you know, the boy saying, well, I hear the boy stacking, right? I hear the boy stacking about who own and who fronting. Those are the allegations that are made. I want to know who is the alligator. Allegations are being made. That is what you have. So, President blaming you. So stop eating out and stop going to supermarkets. Wait for the farmer's market, where you're going to get things cheaper. The farmer's market. You can bring it down from the highway, and we can set it up somewhere so you'll get cheap stuff. Let me see. Well, I have so many other things to talk about. Let me see which is the next one that I really want to talk about this afternoon. The one that I want to talk about this afternoon is the story. Hold on. Let me you know, they got a big story jump out there recently. The leader of the opposition, and as I tell you all repeatedly, forget about the messenger. Listen to the message. The leader of the opposition has been doing these exposes, talking about all the corruption in the system. And as I have said and others have said, he was there with them. Leader of the opposition was a big part of the PPP. So he know the business. He know the business. So when he come out with these revelations, y'all must sit back and listen. Forget about who the messenger is. Listen to the message. So not so long ago, the leader of the opposition came out with this. Well, I can't say bombshell because that might be an overused word, right? He came out with this thing about what's going on with some company named Sigma Engineering. Listen to what he says. Listen to what the leader of the opposition has to say. It's about 12 minutes long, but I got to play it for you to hear it. Listen.
What we're about to put to the people of Guyana include the issues of political access, government contracts, and the use of state resources to an entirely different level. We are talking about the brother of the president of Guyana, President Irfan Ali's brother, Mohammed Akhtar Ali. And we are putting the facts, the dates, the contracts, and the documents before the Guyanese people. A company is born and billions follow in a matter of days. Akhtar Ali lived in Canada before returning to Guyana in 2022. He was not a businessman. He worked in a factory for a basic salary. He returned to Guyana because his only brother became president. Akhtar came in time to benefit off of the $1 trillion budgets. Sigma Engineers Limited was incorporated on October 6, 2022. This is Akhtar's company being fronted for him by his close friend, Tamjid Rahman, a Bangladeshi Canadian. Mohammed Akhtar Ali's name is on the financials for Sigma. The incorporation documents confirm the date of incorporation and identify Tamjid Rahman as the incorporator and director. The same documents identify Rahman as the company's secretary and give his address as 225 F New Market Street, North Commonsburg, Georgetown, a commercial address instead of a residential one. Now, here is where Guyanese must stop and ask questions. How does a newly incorporated company move from being a newly registered entity to receiving billions of dollars in government contracts in 5 working days? Sigma Engineers was registered on October 6, 2022. Within days, 3 government contracts totaling approximately $3,697,000,000 were awarded. 5 working days, a company is registered and multi-billion-dollar contracts follow. Is that coincidence? Was this company really starting from scratch? Or was the road to these contracts already paved before the company was even registered? Tamjid Rahman, the Bangladeshi Canadian, is listed in multiple capacities within Sigma. He is director, secretary, and incorporator. How many hats can one person wear in a company that is suddenly accessing billions of dollars in public contracts? Rahman and Akhtar knew each other from the same masjid in Canada, so he brought his friends in to help him rob taxpayers. Tamjid subsequently brought Bangladeshi nationals to Guyana because they wanted cheap labor to execute their many billion-dollar contracts. Big contracts, bigger questions. Sigma received a contract for works at an existing facility at Caledonia, valued at $687 million. It received another contract for a new water treatment plant at Commons Lodge, valued at $1,304,000,000. It also received a contract for a new water treatment facility at Bachelor's Adventure, valued at $1,647,000,000. Here is the photograph showing Akhtar Ali, Tamjid Rahman, and Junaid Bayat at the commissioning of the Commons Lodge water facility. Remember the 2 children who drowned on Pago Day? 10-year-old Jaden DeKurt and his 8-year-old sister Tiana lost their lives on March 3rd, 2026. The children drowned because the GWI plant, behind the GWI plant, the facility was backwashed by the water treatment system at Bachelor's Adventure, being built by Sigma. More money, more contracts. In February 2024, Sigma received another $254 million for additional works at the Bachelor's Adventure facility. Their greed knows no bounds. Then, on November 29, 2024, Sigma received a $3,569,000,000 contract for the Hope Water Treatment Facility. On October 28, 2024, 2 more contracts for water treatment plants, one at Wakenham and one at Leg 1, totaled $1,486,000,000, and the numbers keep climbing. On December 31st, 2025, All Year's Day, the final day of the year, Sigma received a $2,439,000,000 contract for the rehabilitation of the shelter belt at GWI headquarters. We are told that this contract was processed late on All Year's night through MPTAB. Why? Why was this business being concluded on the final night of the year? Why was there such urgency? If monies were left over from a government ministry or agency, they needed to be returned to the Ministry of Finance. So they are always trying to spend as much as possible before the new year starts. Information provided to us from within GWI is that work on the shelter belt rehab has not commenced to date. Drilling of wells, 10 bids, 9 rejected. Only Sigma awarded. Then we get to the drilling of wells. 10 contractors submitted bids. Akhtar's company was listed at number 10. 9 contractors were denied, and Sigma got the work. On May 20, 2025, a contract for 4 wells, Melanie, Friendship, Westminster, and GWIHQ, was awarded for $411 million, and the pattern continued. On May 7, 2026, Sigma received a $153 million contract to drill a well at Port Morant. On that same date, another well drilling contract at Garden of Eden was awarded for $129 million. Now, on May 20, 2026, a $124 million contract was awarded for a well at Shirley Field Ridley. On the same date, another $124 million contract was awarded for a well at Better Hope, East Coast. Another well drilling contract followed at Goodverwachten, East Coast, Demerara. So we have to ask, why are contractors being invited to compete if the outcome is already known? Why are 9 bidders being rejected while the company connected to the president's brother repeatedly receives the work? And what is happening to the procurement process in this country? I have spoken to engineers. I have been told markups on some of these contracts are between 70 and 100%. The money being spent to construct 1 water treatment plant or well could construct 2. And while the billions are being poured into water infrastructure, Guyanese are still turning on their taps and getting brown water. Some are not getting any water at all. Think about that. More than $12 billion in contracts for Sigma engineers. Let's move on to the State House. And then there is the issue of Akhtar Ali's presence at State House. We are informed that the president's brother is living at State House and operating with a level of access and influence that has raised serious concerns among persons working there. The staff is asking how many presidents this country really has. There also are complaints about the manner in which staff are treated. Is State House now a family office? The Imam. Then there is Junaid Baiwat. Junaid was an Imam in Toronto at IMO Mosque and was paid 3,000 Canadians per month for his religious duties there. Akhtar attended his masjid. Bayat is Akhtar's religious leader. Bayat came to Guyana in 2024. On May 20, 2024, he became involved with Sigma Engineers as a director. What business experience did he bring? What qualifications did he bring to an engineering and water treatment company? And why did a religious leader who had no established business background become a director of a company accessing billions of dollars in government contracts? During last year's political campaign, Junaid Baiwat visited several masjids and stood on the membar during Jummah prayers, using the pulpit to berate and ridicule me, a man he does not know. Instead of using the membar to educate Muslims about Islam, the pulpit was used for political warfare. Community land for the president's brother. Now, in Eccles, part of the community ground was made available to Sigma engineers for the construction of a bond. Residents are complaining about dust, noise, and disruption in what is a residential community. But look at the contradiction in Kenya. More than 100 residents were being told to leave land that had been earmarked for community purposes. Those residents were told to move. They are struggling to find land. But when the president's brother needs space for his company to build a bond, community land suddenly becomes available. What kind of government is this? What kind of priorities are these? Land for ordinary Guyanese is scarce. Land for people connected to power appears to be readily available. This is what corruption looks like under the PPP. We have talked about Irfan's mega farm. We have talked about the overpriced $161 million Linden to Soesdijk Highway. We have talked about the Parika to Versailles $121 billion road. We have talked about the MV Barima. We have talked about Suzanne and our chocolate factory. We have talked about Sarah Brown, Zulfikar Mustafa, Ejil, and the unexplained accumulation of wealth. Again and again, I have put issues before the Guyanese people. Again and again, questions have been raised. and there has been silence. So I'm not asking Guyanese to simply believe me. I'm asking Guyanese to look at the PPP's track record. I'm calling on the SUKU and the FIU, Financial Intelligence Unit, to investigate, follow the contracts, follow the procurement process, follow the money, examine the bids, go look for the evidence at the State House. Irfan has corruption in his DNA, and the entire PPP knows this. Jack Dio, as the General Secretary of the PPP, it is time for you to man up and do something about this. Guyanese, we cannot continue to simply watch this happen. How much longer are you expecting me to continue highlighting corruption and to continue exposing one scandal after another while nobody is held accountable and you guys do nothing with the information? We have to move from highlighting to acting.
Yeah, you heard it for yourself. And here again, I still forget about the messenger, you know. Listen to the message. I see some people commenting about the messenger. I ain't interested in the messenger. I listen to all them thieving. Well, don't let me say thieving. All of those suspicious contracts that are awarded. And I don't know if he mentioned all of these, but I saw something which says this company, $5.51 billion in a short space of time from 2022 to 2026, October the 22nd, October 2022 rather. Caledonia Water Treatment Plant, 687 million. October same year, Cummins Lodge Water Treatment Plant, 1.304 billion. Then we have October same month, year, Bachelor Adventure Water Treatment Plant, 1.647 billion. And after October 2022, Bachelor Adventure additional work. Let me go back. We had a 1.647 billion for Bachelor Adventure Water Treatment Plant. And then later on, they went back for a further 254 million for the same water treatment plant. Then in November 2024, Legwan and Wakanam Water Treatment Facilities, Lot 2, 1.46 billion awarded to Sigma Engineers Limited and the next company, AB Wash Egg or something like that. May 7th this year, Garden of Eden potable water well, 129.16 million. Total identifiable, 5.51 billion. That is what you got to listen to. And here, let me say this, because I read somewhere too that this very company, Sigma, was recently awarded a contract by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to recruit 500 health workers from Bangladesh. That is what is being alleged, that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has contracted with the same Sigma company that is headquartered in Bangladesh. So it's not only water they're dealing with now, they're going recruiting to recruit 500 health workers from Bangladesh to come and work in Guyana. That is what is being alleged. And let me, before I go further, we got to get these intermissions, man, because somebody said the right thing. When you hear about the president, allegation about the president, allegation about people associated with the president, Anthony B. sang about it. Listen to what he says. Family business.
Yes, I am the boss of crime. Mr. Dandito, AI. Nobody never yet cross him line. Something might reach you. He throw a dollar to the shoe shine boy and say he's a good fellow. Silk ties and designer shirts, all buttons to the collar. Limousines, lots of greens, for him and his honor queen. Some machines, the order of his name, because he's caught up in the family business, living the life of a gangster, yeah. Caught up in the family business. No way.
Caught up in a family business, living the life of a gangster, yeah. Caught up in a family business is Anthony B. Anthony B sang that. Family business, he call it, man. Somebody said nepotism and all this. I use all them fancy word. I know what all them thing. I know what allegation that the thief. Auntie my by said thief and here the neighbor run out the night. Watching cricket and she run out all in thief, and they believe it's somebody. No, he says the umpire should be talking about. It's the umpire she was talking about. But you know, you got to give both sides of the thing. So once the leader of the opposition came out with that video, the company Sigma Engineering, they request negotiated compensation from opposition leader or say that he will face a defamation lawsuit. So once he came out with that, the company Sigma, right, say they got the lawyer to write to the leader of the opposition saying he must get into negotiate with them some settlement or he can face a lawsuit. I saw too where the brother of the president, he separately wrote to the leader of the opposition threatening to take legal action for the statement that he made there, right? Statement he made there. And I read the thing, you know, they came out with a statement. Certain things are incontrovertible. The company, they claim that the company formed since 2003, but that wasn't the issue. The company registered in Guyana, the company started with 2022. And within a short space of time thereafter, billions and billions of dollars in contract, billions and billions of dollars in contract. How do you explain that? The table procurement, billions and billions of dollars in contract from 2022 to date. And they said that is what is the identifiable ones, suggesting that maybe there may be more that they have not identified. But here what the thing says here. Sigma Engineering Limited, which has been contracted by the state-owned Guyana Water Inc. to build portable water supply systems, on Monday offered opposition leader Ashuddin Mohammed an opportunity to withdraw defamatory statement against the company or be sued for defamation. In a 6-page letter to Mr. Mohammed, Sigma's lawyer, says Gunraj, demanded from him that he withdraw the statements that the company regards as defamatory and agreed to, quote, pay compensation to our client in the sum to be agreed together with our client's reasonable legal costs incurred to date, end of quote. No ultimatum was issued to Mr. Mohammed, but Mr. Gunraj warned him that if he did not give in to the demands, a court case would be filed. Quote, in the unlikely event of your failure to comply, legal proceedings will be initiated without further notice to you. Our client will seek full relief available to it, together with interest and cost, end of quote, Mr. Gunraj said. Contended that Mr. Mohammed's allegations are particularly serious because they concern Sigma's professional competence and business dealings, the lawyer said the allegations are wholly false. The lawyer said his client was awarded a singular contract. Listen to this carefully. This is what is being reported in demonstrable report, that the lawyer, that is Mr. Gunraj, is saying that his client was awarded a singular contract since its incorporation in 2022. They are not denying the incorporation in 2022, but they are alleging, they are claiming that a single contract was awarded. Well, a lot of things as I read out just now, they are saying, let me go back to this part before I continue. They're saying it is alleged that this same company was awarded multiple contracts. October 2022, Caledonia Water Treatment Plant. These are things that can be verified, I think, fairly easily. October 2022, again, Cummins Lodge Water Treatment Plant. October 2022, Bachelor's Adventure Water Treatment Plant. October 2022, an additional set of money for additional work on Bachelor Adventure. November 2024, Leguan Wakana Water Treatment Plant. Then May the 7th, and they're specific in this one. Well, this is specific. May 7, 2026, Garden of Eden potable water well as well. But the lawyer is saying that this client was awarded a singular contract since its incorporation in 2022. Let me continue to read. The contract he added was awarded in 2026 for the rehabilitation of the shelter belt of Guyana Water Inc., a job that is underway. Mr. Gonraj also informed Mr. Mohammed that Sigma was, quote, never awarded the plethora of other contracts, end of quote, as alleged by him in Monday's morning T. Mohammed's Facebook publication. Quote, as a consequence, you had no proper basis for making this allegation, and notwithstanding the serious nature of the allegations, you failed to take reasonable steps to verify the truth before publishing them, end of quote, he said. Sigma Engineering Limited, Inc., said legal action will be taken if Mr. Mohammed did not remove the content from the T. Mohammed's Facebook page and issue, quote, full and unequivocal written retraction and apology in terms to be agreed with our client's attorney, end of quote, and publish the apology with substantially the same prominence and substantially the same audience as the original publication. Well, that's standard language. The company intends to ask the High Court to award damages for defamation, aggravated damages, exemplary damages, and an injunction restraining further publication or republication of the defamatory allegations, interest, the cost of proceedings, and any other relief that the court may consider just. Quote, the publication has caused and is likely to cause substantial injury to its Sigma Engineering Limited reputation in the way of its trade and business, its goodwill, and may hamper its ability to recruit staff. Further, it leads people of ordinary sense to the opinion that it conducts its business in a dishonest, improper, inefficient, and negligent manner. End of quote. Mr. Gonraj also told Mr. Mohammed. Sigma Engineering, through its lawyers, also demanded that the opposition leader immediately cease and desist from publishing or repeating the allegation complained of, remove and permanently delete the defamatory publication, including any copies within its control, and provide a written undertaking that he will not repeat or republish the allegations or substantially similar allegations concerning the company. Mr. Mohammed is also being asked by Sigma to provide written undertaking to preserve all documents and electronic evidence relating to the publications. Quote, you are required to identify and preserve all records relating to the publication, including electronic messages, emails, social media posts, recordings, draft correspondence, and communications with persons concerning our client, end of quote, the lawyer requested. So let me see where this is going to go. So allegations are made. More allegations alleging corruption. This is basically what is alleging. Corruption in the procurement system. This company, and they admitted that this company was registered or whatever, incorporated, whatever they want to say, but started doing this in 2022. They are claiming that the only one contract this company get, the shelter belt, which is ongoing. And they said they got that this year. In the post, as we saw in the video by Mr. Mohammed, and he showed documents to suggest that this company get multiple contracts. And they're implying, it has been implied, that it's because of the president's brothers association with this company that they get all of this business. That is what it has been, that is what is being said. That is what is being said. But you know, at the end of the video there from the opposition leader, he talks about all these things that he's doing, identifying Susan Rodriguez, Zulfikar Mustafa, and all them type of thing. The question is, what next? These things are identified, and the government and they have not shown the appetite to do anything when it comes to corruption. No, they're not going to do anything. Corruption made against Jack Dio, corruption allegation made against Susan Rodriguez, against Zulfikar Mustafa, and he picked them against Ejil's children. Zulfikar picked me, she get children. Against so many people, and what they do. And then nothing. And then they have the They have the sycophants and the lickbatty, the 00 not, get like civil lickbatty and so on. They suddenly realize that there's a legal maxim, and I do my research. Let me tell you what they say. There's a legal maxim which talks about he who asserts must prove. Yeah, whatever thing, you know, they suddenly remember, at least on that day, they went to law school and they tell them, he who asserts must prove. So in other words, what he said, if you make an allegation, you must prove. But let me tell you further. They're being disingenuous or they're being downright liars and dishonest because they know that is not the end of it. He who asserts must prove, yes, that is a legal maxim. But if you allege something, let me say somebody do something, the onus is on you to prove that the person does it. Law, in civil, especially when it comes to civil law. When it comes to criminal law, he who asserts must prove relates to when the matter gets to court, so that the prosecutor has the burden of proof in most cases. The prosecutor has the burden of proof. You who are as accused, you don't have to prove anything. You can stand there like a dummy, and the case has to be decided based on the evidence presented by the prosecution. You ain't have to say nothing. That is where he who asserts must prove comes in. And if you're going to file a civil lawsuit, he who asserts must prove. So if you make an allegation against someone, you must prove. But when they're failing to tell you that doesn't apply to when a matter is to be investigated, let me pick sense out of nonsense. You can't tell someone talking to police in particular, you can't tell someone who comes to make a report at a police station, well, you must bring the evidence. Person comes to you and say, well, somebody break into my home. Right? Simple thing. They break into my home. You're going to tell them, well, bring the evidence that they break into your home. You have got to investigate. You have got to investigate the matter to find evidence to prove or to disprove the allegation. So when they talk about he who asserts must prove, they are confining it to that limited interpretation. Yeah, you got a court. You done your investigation, you charge a person for whatever offense and before the court. In most cases, because in some cases, the burden of proof shifts, right? Very few cases, the burden of proof shifts. But generally, is the prosecution got to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. So the prosecution is certain, and they must prove, because the matter is before the court. In a civil case, if you make an allegation, you got to prove in the court. But I'm saying that if an allegation is made of some criminal wrongdoing, you can't tell the person who making the allegation they must bring the evidence and they must prove. That is not the way it works. That is not the way it works. Once the allegation is made, you have got to prove, you have got to investigate to prove or to disprove. You have got to investigate to find evidence to prove or to disprove the allegation. But as I said, them dishonest. So they're going to come and they're going to bring the part, but they're going to explain in the detail. Come to speaking out. Come to speaking out, and I will explain these things as best as I can. Because remember to tell me, I'm no liar. I am no liar. But I was a well-trained police officer. And as I've said, the knowledge you gain, don't retire when you retire. So I retired over 16 years ago. The knowledge is still there with me. Right? So they come and tell you about he who asserts. They know the fancy thing, you know, and then you get Latin in it and so on. He who asserts. I know Latin, but the thing out of my tongue if I try to pronounce the Latin. But then even with this, there's another part which says, let me read it. The burden shifts. Let me read this part. Let me read this part. That's a shifting of burden. If the person making the claim shows basic proof, the other side may need to respond or bring counter evidence. This is what the same thing what they're saying, you know. The subshard, you know, I got too further. They talk about the shifting burden. And it says that if the person making the claim shows basic proof, and based on what we saw there from the opposition leader, you get a lot of proof. You get a lot of cargage, a lot of document, right? So if they show basic proof, the other side, that is in this case Sigma and them, may need to respond and to bring counter evidence. Not respond by saying, well, we're going to sue. Bring evidence to prove that it is wrong. The allegation, all these contracts that they say awarded to the company is not true. Bring evidence. And here, let me tell you something. When I read the response from the lawyer, the police in me said maybe some of these contracts are in other people's names. Sometimes they end up with the name of the company, the thing company. So they use a little technicality. We say, oh, well, we only get one, but the others are not with this. We got to watch all of that. But the evidence that is produced there seems to suggest that all of these contracts were awarded to this particular company. All of these contracts awarded to the company. Let us bring evidence to dispute the fact of the employment of the president's brother before this company. Let us bring evidence to prove that. They said that the president's brother lives at State House. Let her come and deny say he live there. Because let me make this point, to see somebody comment to say they see nothing wrong with the president's brother living at State House. A lot wrong with her. State House is our house, the government's house, taxpayers. And even though if the president immediate family, and I know how far they're going to extend immediate family, there might be nothing wrong with that, his wife and his children, maybe even his parents. But once you're going to extend it to, how far are you going to extend it down? Your brother, your sister, your nephew, your nieces, that is what's going to happen. Because you can bet your bottom dollar that if anyone lives at State House with the president, they men paying no bills, then buying no food, everything going to be served to them. That is my opinion, right? Everything is going to be given to them. So there's a lot wrong with it, a lot wrong. So whoever made the comment, think about it again. Because once you're going to do that, I will say, how far? It's not going to be the nuclear family alone, right? You're going to be extended. How far are you going to extend it? Given the fact that this is not your personal property, this is the property of the state. You're only a tenant there for the while. You got your private houses. You got the one on the farm, big thing on the farm, with pool and all of that. You got the one at Leonora, maybe more, I don't know. So why you ain't go there and live? Why you ain't sending them to live? It's an abuse. It's a downright abuse, right? Downright abuse. So let me understand that clearly. I get a little more time and I got some more to talk. So as I've said, this whole thing, I want to see where it will go. This lawyer letter and the threatening to sue, because it was observed. It's very unusual for a letter of that nature to be written and a deadline is not put in the letter. Very unusual. And I've been taught to note the unusual. Because when lawyers' letters of that nature are sent, the person is usually given a time to respond. You must respond by X time. And if you fail to do so, then we're going to go to the next step. But it has been observed that no timeline is given. None. No time is given. And I don't believe that is an accident. I believe there is deliberate. Right? I believe there is deliberate. So you're going to draw. And the man get wiggle room. Nothing is just bluff. Enough is bluff. Because as I've said, I get the impression, if you look at that video that I just played with the leader of the opposition, it is clear that this is not something where you just wake up, like how the president wake up and decide to promote 2,800 police officers. It is clear that some research was put into this thing, research gone into it. So you get the masjid story, you get the pictures of all of these things. Some research was done. It is not a fly-by-night thing. That is based on this is my assessment, based on what we just saw there. It's not somebody who just come and decide to ad-lib. It would appear to, the thing was prepared. He's reading from a teleprompter, so it would have been vetted by somebody and all of that. So let them continue with, and as I've said before, when these lawsuits are filed, well, not for lawsuits, when these letters are written, these letters threatening lawsuit and all this everything, look to see who are the lawyers retained. And to me, that tells a story. To me, I don't know if y'all see the same thing, but to me, I just look to see who file, who write. And when you see who write, I just come to certain conclusions. You might not come to the same conclusion, but I come to a certain conclusion, right? And the conclusion I come to is in song. Remember what you name, Lord Canary? Guy is Lord Canary. All we are one family. Open the door, let the man come in. All we are one family. That's Lord Canary song. And when they come to these allegations, let me play a particular song for y'all. One of Trinidad best over the years. Man named Crow Crow. Crow Crow. Crow Crow say you must jail them. And here, listen to the words carefully. And here, let me tell you all this. Crow Crow sings. Crow Crow is a Trinidadian Calypsonian. He sang then about Basdio Pandey, who was a prime minister. But a lot of the things can apply to Guyana. As I told you all, I use it in Latin, mutatis mutandis, with the necessary changes. So when you listen to Crow Crow, and Crow Crow talk about Basdio Pandey, you can apply that mutatis mutandis to a Guyana situation. Listen to him.
Weston Rollins, coming to do a song called Jail Them. Make some noise for Go!
You big thief! Big thief! Since Wednesday night, I'm feeling so happy. Since the charge Pandey, I feel like if I win the lottery, I could brag and boast, cause all of you don't know, I am the prophet in Kaiso. Just last year I did tell all you, they would have locked up his backside for true. These people thief all the money, they vacuum the whole treasury. So if all you're against corrupting, tell your voice, let me hear you say, Pandey, the jail is waiting. Pandey, all your thief, enough. Corruption in US is submerging that already. Your father call us next to go. So we abandon ship, we not staying on it. And very slow, Pandey no, in the jail you just have to go. You big thief. If your little child come home from school spotting a diamond, you ought to ask the child, where you get that from? And if you ain't do that and wait until the police come, then the police go carry the whole family down. It doesn't lie too much, Pandey, me afraid to say. Since when you know that old man work in some way, but you feel that niggas stupidity, shut the dancers don't work for that kind of money. My predictions does always come to pass. I know they'll lock up you. Pandey, hey, the jail is waiting. Pandey, all you take enough. Corruption in US is submerging that already. You back got concrete in hold. So we abandon ship, we not staying on it. And
election. The only thing them two could discuss is which one of them going to jail first. I hear he went to Guyana, buy them back to look for Obia. 300,000 in fish eaten the last month. I know they're not luck of you. And the jail was waiting. And all you take enough. Corruption in you and this women sing that already. Your partner call us next to go. So we abandon ship. We not staying on it. And very slow. Bandeno, bandeno. In the jail, boy, you have to go. Bye. 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 Boom, ba, da, 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 da. So much poor people out here catching the nenin. Pandy went and buy 2 brand new Mercedes Benz, lying and saying how he didn't know about it, putting the blame on his son-in-law Griffith. If Griffith doing things and he hush him out, he must be doing other things he don't know about. I told him to go and drive in style, was only for a short while. Put oil and gas, polish and thing. I know he had to give it to Patrick Manning. Bandy, the jail was always waiting. Bandy, all you take enough. Corruption in you and this women sing that already. Your father Carlos next to go. So we abandon ship. We not staying on it. And very slow. Bandeno, bandeno. In the jail, boy, you have to go. Bandeno, bandeno. In the jail, boy, you have to go. Bandeno, bandeno. In the jail, boy, you have to go. Bandeno, bandeno. In the jail.
What? Yeah. Make some noise for Coco.
Make some nice of crow. Yeah, let me tell you the story behind this thing, man. Pandey was the Prime Minister, Trinidad and Tobago. The charge in 2002 for failing to declare a London bank account. Right? He failed to declare a London bank account to the Integrity Commission. Listen carefully. He had a London bank account. He failed to declare it to the Integrity Commission, and he was charged criminally. Right? He was also entangled with some Piaco airport project. The charge was eventually dropped. That's 2002, you know. The charges were eventually dropped in 2023. And here was a Pandey was charged in September of 2002 with knowingly failed to disclose a national Westminster bank account in London on his financial integrity declaration from 1997 to 1999 while serving as Prime Minister. He was initially found guilty in March 2006 and sentenced to 2 years in prison. But that conviction was quashed on appeal. Subsequent legal challenges and retrial ordered stretched across years until the prosecution ultimately ended. Pandey, along with his wife, Oma, former Minister Carlos John and businessman Ishwar Galbaran Singh, faced long-running corruption charges alleging that they corruptly received and gave £25,000 bribe tied to the Piaco International project. In March 2003, the Director of Public Prosecutions formally discontinued the proceedings, eventually freeing Pandey of the 18-year-old pending charge. That's 2023, he said 2003. And people say, well, I give you the background to what it is. And Crow sang about it. And it's so nice, you got to play it twice.
Western Rollins. Coming to do a song called Jail Them. Make some noise for Crow.
I'm feeling so happy. Since they charge Bandy, I feel like if I win the lottery, I could brag and boast, cause all of you know I am the prophet in Kaiso. Just last year I did tell all you, they would have locked up his backside for true. These people thief all the money, they vacuum the whole treasury. So if all you're against corrupting, tell your voice, let me hear you say, Pandy, the jail is waiting. Pandy, all your thief, enough. Corruption in US is too sing that already. Your father call us next to go, so we abandon ship. We not staying on it, and very slow. Bandeno, bandeno, in the jail you just have to go. You big thief. If your little child come home from school spotting a diamond, you ought to ask the child, where you get that from? And if you ain't do that and wait until the police come, then the police go carry the whole family down. It doesn't lie too much, Bandit, be afraid to say. Since when you know that owner work in some way, but you feel that nigga stupidity, shut the dancers don't work for that kind of money. My predictions does always come to pass. I know they'll lock up you. Bandit, hey, hey, the jail is waiting. Bandit, all you take enough. Corruption in US is too much, sing that already. Your bank got concrete in whole. So we abandon ship, we not staying on it, and very slow. Bandeno, bandeno, this election you've got to go. When I see Bass and Ramesh talking like friends, I tell me children, the world will come into an end. Because it's Bass who say Ramesh is Nimakaram, and it's Ramesh who say Bass is laced with corruption. The only thing them two could discuss is which one of them going to jail first. I hear he went to Guyana, buy them back to look for Obia. 300,000 in fish eaten the last month. I know they're not lock up you. Bandit, hey, hey, the jail was waiting. Bandit, all you take enough. Corruption in the US is too much, sing that already. Your father call us next to go, so we abandon ship. We not staying on it, and very slow. Bandeno, bandeno, in the jail, boy, you have to go. Bye. 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 La 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 la, boom ba la 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 la. So much for people out here catching the nenen. Pandy went and buy 2 brand new Mercedes Benz, lying and saying how he didn't know about it, putting the blame on his son-in-law Griffith. If Griffith doing things and he hush him out the mouth, he must be doing other things he don't know about. I told him to go and drive in style, was only for a short while. Put oil and gas, polish and thing, I know he had to give it to Patrick. Money, Bandy, hey, the jail was always waiting. Bandy, all you take enough.
Yeah, Padino, it's the jail you have to go. I tell you how changing the thing and put in your own, you apply it as the Latin say, and they say legal phrase, the same words, you apply the thing, mutatis mutandis with the necessary changes. Wonder who got to go? Jail, they got to go. Jail, they got to go. Only matter of time. You can't thief and thief so much and not catch jail, man. And this is not lasting, you know. Not lasting by Bailey or lasting by servant or any one of the different last in them fancy word. It is thieving. It's the thieving, downright thieving, all them enough money. Right? All them enough money. Yeah, I know Rebel and the professor sang about that guy. And I'm prepared sometime because they sang it. I mean, let me face facts, yeah? Rebel and the professor did well. But when you hear Crow and them men from Trinidad, Crow in particular, Black Man, you look for that and them big tune, big tune. And when you hear the instrumentation, man, you gotta shake. Right? Folks, I want to, as I try to take my leave in a short while, ask you about this big thing over here, big nice over a week ago, about this police sergeant who's arrested and eventually they found 155 certificate of competence in this man's possession. And they say other arrests supposed to follow. And also other thing you hear, that the man says some big ones he got collect and distribute $1.5 million per week. And then what happened? That top tune, Sound of Silence again? Is that top tune the plain Sound of Silence? Because as I said on Wednesday, when you hear about $1.5 million a week, if money sound big. But when you hear that the man was caught with 155 certificate of competence with the names and addresses of people already written in, and the categories of vehicle, Toro, they say it had the categories of vehicles. So from that, they can know how many trucks, how many cars, and so on when they look at it. But you're not hearing nothing anymore. You're not hearing. I know when the story broke first, Leroy Smith of Big Smith Newswatch alleged that this was a setup because a certain senior officer wants his son to take over that position as a licensing and certifying officer. That is what Big Smith claims, right? Big Smith claimed that. But I understand that right as of now, the cage empty. Nobody has gone in. Some are suggesting that because speaking out and Big Smith talk about it, they decide to hold back and they put the senior officer's son in the cage any longer. And questions are being asked, as I said, they are licensing and certifying officers throughout Guyana. Throughout Guyana, they are licensing and certifying officers. And I understand that this thing with this man is not an isolated case. Not all of them may be involved, maybe not all of them are involved, but many more are involved. They got to pay senior people money weekly to remain in the position. How are they going to get the money? It's corruption is being encouraged. It's corruption. But as I've said, the PPP government, past and present, have no appetite to go after corruption. During the election campaign and I think during the manifesto, y'all remember, President said that they're going to establish an anti-corruption unit. That was since last year. Anti-corruption unit was to be established. Almost a year since the election. A couple of weeks now, it's going to be a year since the election. You know, you're nothing but this anti-corruption unit, right? Because there was just talk. Most of the things is just talk. Like when the president talked about nice nuisance, and the way to solve nice nuisance, in his view, is to make the people got take loan. Imagine that business struggling, and you get, I think they must take loan to soundproof your bar and to soundproof your club. That is the president's solution. The people in Pomeroon tell you they get the problem to get people to pick the coconut. Oh, you can get coconut picking tourism. So tourists don't go to the Pomeroon and pick coconut. And you buy, just like how they pick apples in the States and strawberry. I know if you ever see strawberry is like a vine that's grow low on the ground. Any little picnic can pick strawberry, right? But that is what the comparison, what the president is making. And then he tell you now that, what he said, that the reason for the cost of living, he said you must change your eating habits. President Ali blames citizens' lifestyle for rising costs of living. He says dining out, shopping in supermarket, driving up expenses. The man live in La La Land. He lives in La La Land. He don't live in Guyana. So he can say that because he have big mega farm. Big mega farm. So he can then plug in for farmers market. Let me understand this thing clearly, man. Do anyone have a conversation with the president and say, well, look, this thing what you say and make no sense, and this thing what you say can be interpreted as a conflict of interest? You admitted you have a big farm. You know, on the Tuesday thing that he get in the call press conference, when they asked him about the farm, he admitted he get farm, but he continues to say it is not 150 acres. But he can't tell you what is the size of the farm. He continues to say, oh no, mommy, they say 150 acres. The farm is not 150 acres. Tell me what is the size of the farm. Tell me. He says so. He believe he's stupid. Because Yagyo, the boss said that Guyana get a lot of stupid people. He believe all of we stupid. That is what he believe. If you are saying, and you have said that the size of this farm as related by the leader of the opposition is false, then you should come and show that is not the size. Look, this is it. Hey, look the cargage. This is the size of the farm. It can value $5 billion. This is what the value is. And I get loan. This is a loan that I got. He would never do that. This thing happened when he was away somewhere. He been from CARICOM thing in St. Lucia, I think it was. He jump up and he make a nonsensical statement. When he come back, people can visit the farm. He can have a tour. He ain't come back yet, so you can't get his tour. He ain't come back yet. So this tour that he wanted to carry the journalists and so on to have a tour of the farm, it didn't happen yet. Didn't happen yet. That is what we have. That is what we have. Folks, I have so much more to tell you, but I want to stand between you and your Friday afternoon for much longer. I know some of the boys taking the tubes and so on, but I got to play this one again because a student told me that he did not hear this one for a long time, and he thanked me for playing it, and I too will say that this is dedicated to a certain liar, one certain liar. Here how it goes.
A drunk man walk in a graveyard, and to the top of his voice start bawling out hard. A drunk man walk in a graveyard, and to the top of his voice start bawling out hard. My friend, I come long time no see. I choose today to keep your company. I ain't come alone, I walk with the thing. He put down a little bag and started to sing. Why did you answer when Mr. Death called you? Why didn't you hide round the bend? Why didn't you smart him the way you does smart me? Long hopes to have an end. Sit down on a grave and start to laugh. Put the hand in the bag and take out a half. Well, my friend, I must ask you how you feel, 'cause it is my turn to break the seal. I always used to warn you about your brain. He opened the liquor and start sing again. You were a friend when others failed. You were a friend who always knew. You were a friend who never spent, but always blind drunk in the end. He take a big drink and call his friend name, then put another drink and drink again. Maybe I can't tell you how I am happy. Since you're dead and gone and never out of money. He upgrade the bottle and on the rum, then lay down on the grave and start to hum. I do not know, I cannot tell It's you harder to bear. But I do know that one of these days that we will be lying. Get up crying, my friend, it is true. You've done me plenty wrong, but I still miss you. Is I alone at nights now left to roam? So I'm choosing a new road that gon' keep me home. So make right with your maker and please mention me. And he walk out of the ground with a strange melody. In my soul, I hear my Savior voice. Oh, calling me, oh, calling me. Deep from my soul, no more rum for me, no rum for me, no rum for me.
Yeah, guys, he's telling the mighty kite children. As we leave, folks, we leave. You can't forget Barima, so I gotta drop you this one, MV Barima.
Blow the boat, you take it too long. High time you ready, all the evidence gone. You think we stupid? Cause Jack Dio says so. But I want you to know, every stupid man got his own damn sense. Remember, Buffy says so. Boom! Blow the boat. People want to see the evidence. Want to see the hole where you full with cement. Blow the boat. They recognize that them not decent. Make a lot of people lose them life innocent. Blow the boat. Guyana got a wicked president. That's why you know we got a wicked government. Blow the boat. They recognize that them not decent. So me say it with enough confidence. Hold on, Adrian case, man, it was a foul play. And the government act like them just don't care. The children in the dumps them burn up same way. And the government act like them don't care. The soldiers crash up and them dead same day. And the government cover up same way. The MV Barima was unhurried, so she end up at the bottom of the sea. Hold on, they still run out and he try to cover up, but he couldn't fool me because we head in a cup. He got the crew members and the captain lock up. Say it at them fault cause they smoke and drink up. But the survivors got another story. Them said the boat overloaded, was a old body. The engine cut out, never maintained properly. So it end up at the bottom of the sea. Blow the boat. The people want to see the evidence. Them want to see the hole where you black with cement. Blow the boat. They recognize that them not decent. Make a lot of people lose them life innocent. Blow the boat. Guyana got a wicked president. That's why you know we got a wicked government. Blow the boat. They recognize that them not decent. I'm a witness too much incident. Hold on them. How them bring them friends to do investigation. But me know it a go end up in corruption. Once bitten, twice shy, me know them destination. Me don't know the lies them a go tell this nation. Them fool a lot of people in the last election. Can't expect the truth from the mouth of Satan. Money are them God business under hand. So me expose them in a me song. One big country and one nation. Who disrespect the most is the Amerindian. Them leaders sell out, it is abomination. Fit 2 engine, 2 boat and some measly ration. Where the minister of Amarinian affair is like she disappear as she gone pick a fear. Well, Sarah Brown, I want you hear this clear. Your people blood on your shoulder, me swear. Boom, blow the boat. The people want to see the evidence. They want to see the hole where you pack with cement. Blow the boat. They recognize that them not decent. A lot of people lose them life innocent. Blow the boat. They hear they got a wicked president. That's why Guyana got a wicked government. Blow the boat. They recognize that them not decent. So me say it with enough confidence. Hold on there.
Good folks, good job there. Float the boat. So Cliff Sampler thing, the guy name. Float the boat. Big tune, big tune. Folks, we've had a good afternoon. Again, let me say to you, as you go into your weekend, be safe, be safe, be safe, be extremely safe. Guyana is a dangerous place. I urge you, I encourage you, I implore you to be safe. And God's Spray Life will be here again on Monday at 11 o'clock. You know the drill. Monday, 11 o'clock. Share, let people know for another program, another episode of Speaking Out, exposing corruption, incompetence. Until then, stay well. Bye.
Up comes Parslow and Mr. Clinton. Can't wait. Speaking and exposing corruption each and every day. Guyanese, turn on your TV and go to YouTube and listen to what Parslow and Conway to say. Whole day we are calling for Parslow and Clinton Conway. They teach and educating, exposing the things in the system. We need a better Guyana for the little boys and the